Hello, this is Krista here with you again today. And today I wanted to kind of touch on trauma again and some different things that I've been learning. A couple days ago, some high winds hit here and a tornado touched by, and it was kind of a mess here at our home. A lot of trees got knocked down in our local area and some trees fell on our roof. So it was kind of a disaster zone for a while. Took a lot of teamwork and help to help clean the place up, and my power was out for a couple days. We have a friend, their trailer got hit by a tree, and a girl got stuck under the rubble, and luckily everybody made it out of there alive. I think one great thing that has helped during this time, instead of everybody just panicking, was to, number one, keep breathing, and helping has really been a big one where the community has come in and helped, and also we help back in housing someone right now who needs help and shelter and food during this time. Um, a lot of times, when we can lift our hearts like that and be of help and service to others while also accepting the help and service of others, if we all need help, can be a good process for us to help healing our hearts and to help deal with some of that panic maybe that we have in our minds, or are also triggered by events of the past. Maybe if we have been through trauma in the past or grew up with CPTSD even, where we are just often left in this place where we might not be doing anything, and our mind goes into these places of panic, such as fear, a lot of anxiety, worry, distress, and we can't seem to get a grip on things. We can't seem to be able to handle things. Maybe you feel a sense of helplessness. Taking action can be a good way to get out of that feeling. Even when natural disasters strike, to jump in and just kind of help do the cleanup or whatever it is. Not to get stuck in our sadnesses for too long, and to stop and take a break with some distress tolerance skills, such as like taking action presently. If we're in some kind of a panic state again where we want to go use, or something triggers us and we are feeling a lot of distress, how we can talk ourselves into something of the present moment, like thinking about a football game that we've seen recently, thinking about our favorite football team. Um, Stopping and presently becoming aware of things that we enjoy doing, times in our life where we have enjoyed things, to uplift ourselves and our thoughts, to create more positive thoughts rolling through those times. Even though they can be unpleasant, we still have times in our lives and daily activities where we can get really down, and we can stay stuck being angry, blaming this person or that person, blaming ourselves, whatever it may be, falling into the victim mentality, like, everything is happening to me and why, and I can't go on. Maybe you're stuck in the I can'ts. I'm not able to do this or that. Um, and we can stay stuck in this. But when we practice present awareness, either through mindful activities, meditation, stop, or we can stop and maybe go to the Y, go for a swim, um, just take a break, even if we have to stop in our heads for a moment and think about positive things. becoming aware and in the present moment might take some work, but it's worth it. That we learn how to practice this, that we can lift back ourselves back up quicker in the future and stay in more of a present awareness, instead of going to thoughts of our past, maybe how someone has hurt us, um, or being afraid to move forward, like freezing, going into that PTSD mode where all our lives since children, whether we were sexually abused, there was trauma in the home, a lot of screaming and yelling, people that weren't able to be there for us. Maybe they were ill, maybe they had narcissistic personality disorder, more toxic levels of shame in the home where we were punished just to be somebody's emotional punching bag. Or maybe we had parents that were addicts as well, workaholics, maybe we were ignored. Um, it is, you know, really important that we learn that those things were not our fault and we are able to go on in our futures and not stay stuck in the past. We can carry a lot of baggage, and to be able to let that go, like with maybe healing trauma meditations or just learning how to relax the body, um, tensing and untensing muscles for a while, just some deep breathing, counting, or whatever to get back into more of a present state. Um, but as children, we can learn these states of trauma that we stay stuck in all of our lives until we can learn to move and break free from them, until we've had enough of suffering, and we're just at that point where we know that we have to go on, but we don't know how, which arises questions and healing, and that's where it all recovery starts. um, we can stay in these PTSD modes where fight, flight, freeze, or fawn happens, and we can get stuck in these patterns, and using can become a big part of our life. Overeating, smoking, whatever it is, or, a lot of us do have these patterns, manipulating others to get what we want. Um, or getting stuck in more codependent modes where we easily give up and give in, because that's what we were taught, and just let those other people have whatever they want from us. We can be slaves unto ourselves and unto others and society. Um, Being able to build assertiveness skills and new boundaries can be tough for some of our loved ones and friends to watch, or our coworkers. But as we begin to learn these skills, um, it becomes easier for us in our own lives, and the tiredness, like running after everything all day long, gets a little bit less when we stop and can take some time during the day for ourselves, and keep practicing self-care and self-love, with, a nice bubble bath, maybe going to the gym and working out for a half an hour, whatever present moment ways that we can learn to relax are so healthy for us, as it can be a struggle to go through recovery. Um, and we can get still things can trigger us into feeling like, maybe if someone leaves us, like these big abandonment wounds where PTSD falls in again, and we feel like we're all alone and nobody cares, and like we can feel like we want to die, um, or these panic thoughts come up like, we're going to die, and we might not be able to move forward with maybe taking on that new schooling or that new job because we're afraid to go forward, um, or do that recovery like we so wish to do, but keep getting stuck in relapsing or lapsing especially after events like big traumas happen again. And they so often do in our lives. There's not really any way to get around them. But I do know that in states of drug use, um, or if, when we continue to hurt ourselves, which we've learned to do, we can go forward being less destructive to ourselves and falling into that pit trap again when we ride into drinking again, when we take that first beer again, we think we can handle it, and then a few months go by and you find yourself every day at the bar again, or whatever that may be. Um, I know it. I've been through it. I go through it, and still, it's the same lessons that I'm learning. But um, to work and stay in your recovery by maybe joining that AA online or in person, make new friends that are not using anymore, where you can meet new people, maybe creating a new job or a new life or a new place to live, where you are more resilient and able to feel more responsible as an adult on your own can be really powerful. All these different things and learning these new coping skills can still be hard on some days because we would like it all to go nice and easy breezy when we do fall into recovery. But as I was listening to a man talk today online, it's not really going to be that way. You're going to have your tough days, your up and down days, and not everything is always going to go easy breezy. But as they say, sometimes the hard or lessons teach us very rewarding things and different ways of handling things. And so we can become more assertive in a way that instead of snapping at people or hurting other people, um, and opening to our hearts in loving ways towards ourselves and others, and also by positive thinking, we can fall more quickly out of that rut as woe is me or angry at the world for doing us in, becoming less selfish and more selfless. Um, as a lot of us learn, as a lot of us go through in being an addict, being hardcore or whatever it was for you, we can fall into more narcissistic ways where we love to blame the world. We become very selfish and just we can become mean. And I know a part of AA is maybe writing notes to people and say that we're sorry for the way that we used to behave because we might have been cruel to people, even our own children, as we got so numbed out and hid in that addiction for at least one more time of feeling some relief. Um, when we've taken it way too far and addiction has overruled our lives and we've lost all control, um, even to our logical selves, where our addictive mind is kicked in and we've lost all logical reasoning as to why we're doing things anymore. And we can get so mad at ourselves. Still have to learn to forgive ourselves for all of that, and forgiveness is a big part of it. You know, um, there's a story about a woman, and she was a missionary in another land, um, and she was taken in as a prisoner to some of the people over there, some bad people. And every day for 2 years, they would ask her who she was working for, if she was a spy, and they would put these brands on her, like weld brands on her, and like burn her skin like every day for 2 years, lock her down, and was raped for 2 years, just gang raped. And uh, when you go through bigger deals like that, you know, and when you come back from it, um, a large part of you does not feel safe. It can be that way in abused homes as well, where you're tortured all the time in some way, emotionally, physically, psychologically. It's still all narcissistic, and we can have a hard time forgiving what life has dealt to us in the past, some horrible things. Uh, but she said that one of the reasons that she finally could go on was by starting to forgive what had been done to her, and just having like this praying for forgiveness, and just using her heart and healing with her heart, even though it can be very hard for us to forgive some people that have done things to us, or even ourselves for putting us through the nightmare um, of drugs or alcohol. Maybe you gambled and are in debt, like we're way in debt, and you've lost everything, and you feel angry at the world uh, for being born into a world where these things happen to you, and you never thought that they would happen to you. But the truth is that this is Earth, this is the planet Earth, and we have to start forgiving things. Maybe we can start with the smaller stuff first, just forgiving little things and working up to the bigger things. It can be difficult and challenging, but really hard to do. But that's kind of a big one I listened to the other day that really stopped me, and I thought to myself, you know, I just could relate to some levels on that. And understand that even though my abuser as a child did those things to me, I remember even as a little girl that to not fall sick and in despair, and to be able to keep going, part of my heart did have to forgive some of that, and some of the way that they were, and I know that can result in a lot of codependency too, where we're just forgiving everybody left and right, and but things go unresolved in the present, future, and in your inside of yourself, to where you can grow sick with it if things don't start changing. So where are you in your recovery today? What level are you on? Are you just beginning? Are you just contemplating your recovery, whether that's of codependency, of giving too much of yourself, of loving too much, and accepting taking people that just take? Where are you today in your recovery with whatever it is? Give it some thoughts today, and I hope this video is helpful. And those are my thoughts and ideas today. Thanks for listening. Peace.